All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Bailey, and I'm just going to kick off our panelists. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about ourselves. And so I have a timeline that's up behind me. So if you don't know me, I'm originally from San Francisco, California. My journey in geology began when I was a teenager. When I was 15, I joined a program called SF Rocks. ROCK stands for Reaching Out to Kids and Communities Through Science. And it was a program created to reach out to students in underserved communities to get them to join geology. And from then, I've been kind of in love. And you can see there's a picture of me that's a little blurry. I apologize, it's from the internet. But it's me presenting at my first conference, which was AGU when I was 15. And at that time, I worked on hydrothermal energy and how it was causing earthquakes in Northern California. From there, I decided I wanted to do geology for the rest of my life. So I went to San Francisco State University, and as an undergrad, I participated in everything that I could. I went to Chile and Argentina. The picture is of me at a national park in Argentina. I went to an REU at the University of Minnesota and worked in the St. Anthony's Falls laboratory, as well as LSU. They were partnered together. So there's some students from LSU. I love that campus, it's so beautiful. And I worked on understanding sediment budgets within the Atchafalaya River. And there I realized that rivers were my thing. I loved rivers. I wanted to understand the stratigraphy. I wanted to understand how sediment was transported. Everything I could learn, I wanted to do that. And so from there, I decided to apply to a master's program at Cal State Northridge, and I worked with Kathleen Marsaglia, understanding provenance of rivers in South Island, New Zealand, and how they deposit sediment onto the Canterbury Basin. I was super lucky. I was funded by an NSF grant called the Bridge to Doctorate. So with that meant I had to apply to a PhD program after that. So I applied to a bunch of different schools, and I landed at the University of Texas at El Paso. But between the two, I had my first internship. And I was actually talking to Libby about this beforehand. In my journey, I had actually didn't know that oil and gas was a career path for a geologist, because I went to San Francisco State. It was mostly environmental was the options, and maybe even like the USGS, but not oil and gas. So at Northridge is where I discovered oil and gas could be a career path for me. And my advisor, Kathleen Marsaglia, held the AAPG Student Expo on our campus. So with that, we were sort of, as her students, voluntold that we had to participate and help with all of the organizing. But that led me in a good position because it made me more interested in looking at that as a career path. And I ended up doing an internship with Oxy between my master's and my PhD. And that internship was in Bakersfield, which was wonderful because I got to work on the Monterey Shale there. And growing up in California, I had known about the Monterey Shale since I was an undergrad. I've been looking at it forever. So finally I get to take what I'm looking at as a student and put it into context of a business context. So that was great. I did such a great job, they offered me an internship again here in Houston. And I got to work with their rock sciences group and look at coral the following summer. And then I had another internship with Chevron in Covington, where Eric's landing. So it was also a great internship, and it was perfect for me because at the time I was in the middle of my PhD working on salt sediment interaction of the Morrison Formation in Gypsum Valley, Colorado. And I wanted to do something similar, but in the subsurface. And so working at Chevron was the perfect opportunity to get to do that. And I got to look at fluvial systems right around a diapir as well. So continuing the theme, I love rivers, right? And so there's just a picture on the side of me in the field working in the Morrison right behind me. But as a PhD student, as Charles mentioned earlier, I was super active as well, like I was in my undergrad, and I participated in many different societies. I participated in the National Association of Black Geoscientists, so there's a photo of me. My first time presenting ever at a conference was there, and I won the best talk. It was such a great opportunity for me to kind of come out of my shell as a student and get to speak to an audience of my peers. I also, along the way, became the AAPG delegate for the Southwest section for El Paso Geologic Society, and I became the president of the El Paso Geologic Society. And at the same time, we held the Southwest section meeting in El Paso. And it was such a great opportunity, and it was a lot of fun to meet so many people in the Southwest section. They truly are my family. I love Southwest section. And there's a picture of Charles and me and all my peers just after that student expo he mentioned earlier. But come to the end of my PhD, I wasn't sure, what I was going to end up doing. I knew I wanted to go into oil and gas, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get there. And this is for some of the students. I talked to a lot of recruiters, and one of the recruiters, his name is Brett. He worked, I think he worked at Anadarko at the time. And he suggested that I just continue to try to look for another internship. Even though I had many before, he said, the only way you're really going to get hired is if you try and go for another internship. So don't be afraid to go out there and try to take on interviews anyway. And so I took his advice to heart, and I interviewed with a bunch of companies who came to UTEP. But really what landed me with an internship at ExxonMobil was my connection to NABG, the National Association of Black Geoscientists. Because I had given so many presentations, a lot of those geoscientists that are in that organization also work at ExxonMobil. And so when I told them I wasn't sure where I was going to end up and that I was looking for another internship, they said, send me your resume. And they sent it right over to Orla. Maybe some people know who Orla is. And she interviewed me at GSA, and on the spot she was like, yeah, you'll have an internship. And from there I had my internship, and it was one of the best experiences. Again, I love rivers, and the whole summer I got to look at sediment transport with Bill Hines, and that was probably one of my most favorite things I've ever done. I came back, I finished my PhD after they offered me a job, and now I'm at ExxonMobil. I work in XTO. I'm a geologist working the Permian Basin, the Delaware, Texas side, and I love what I do. There's a picture of me up here on this side with one of my first wells that I drilled. I think Luciana asked me how many wells I've drilled. I think I'm up to almost 15, and I landed a well today. So I love what I do, and I'm excited to be here and to share what I know. So thank you.